That's good thinking. We have to change. The media is very strong, and propaganda. I'm not saying that we should do propaganda, but we really need to to find a way to change the values. And I think it's been done in some countries a little bit. They say, for instance, that the Scandinavian countries, and I don't know that much about it. I only know about it fleetingly, so I'm not going to. But let's say it's true, and they seem to act with more compassion about a lot of things, and they seem to be happier people. Whatever they're doing over there, why can't we bring it over here? Just like we go over and visit other countries to see how they do schooling, and we bring it back. We haven't done a good job because our schools are horrible, but we can.
Horrible.
They are. Amen. Even the private schools, let me tell you,
Horrible.
across the board,
Yes.
these other countries are so more advanced than us, not because
Really.
they're smarter people, but they have better education.
They sure do.
People here, our kids hate to go to school. Why is that? Learning is a beautiful thing.
Well,
So, and I hated going to school, let me tell you, so, and my son, but don't tell him that I said that I hated it, because he never knew that. Anyway, but the thing is what we have to do is we have to go from macro to micro. We have to insist on things, like Crystal said, that we have to do some things that Stephanie said. I'm sorry, I'm reading the names wrong. But everything everybody says is great, so don't include anybody,
Yeah.
But that compassion is an individual trait, but we can demand the training and the change, the cultural change on a larger thing. We have people that are called influencers. There, that's the word, influencers, and they change fashion, for instance. That's just an example. Well, some of the influencers are now, like, it's a big thing now, and it's been for a while, for Hollywood people to adopt children, or to get behind causes and things like that. It's not new, but we have to keep going. We have to do it even stronger, but we have to demand on a macro level the things that hit the source of the problem, not the symptoms.
So pretty much what you're saying, something like this, right?
Let's begin. Yes, there we go.
Right?
Yes.
Because again, when I created that, and I'm noticing a lot of people, this scares a lot of people, because because if you want an apple and there's an apple in the fridge, what would you do?
Get up and go get it.
You get up and go get it. So if you want to end racism, what would be the first thing you want to do?
You get up and go get it.
We need to go to the forums, the town hall meetings, the city council meetings. We can start there. We can start right in the city.
Well, no, you start as an individual. You start with your individual heart, right? You look in the mirror. The person in the mirror.
Exactly.
Yes. You look at yourself.
Rod Sterling
you change yourself.
He said.
Yeah, we can look at ourselves, but I can't look at them.
But
I can't look at them for them.
And you can't end racism for them.
Exactly.
Right.
They have to do it themselves.
If they don't hear what's really going on, and they're not, if they're acting like when they see Rodney King getting beaten to death and they act like it didn't happen.
I know. Or he deserved it.
I mean, I can, be there and stand up and be the right, make the next right move. But it makes no difference if they have a blind eye to whatever is going on anyway. It is up to us. You're right. It is the individual. So then I teach my child and then others, but we need to make some moves like in government. And we need to get some stakeholders who can make those types of moves. We already know what the compassion is. We know how we feel individually.
We need to get rid of the insanity. Debbie is right. It's insanity.
But
it is mental illness. And we need to address
illness.
But
the police aren't the only ones who's mentally ill.
No, they're not.
Yeah,
institution.
Our legislators.
But I want to say this at the same time, you have to want. You could go to people, you could scream at them, you could do whatever. You have to want to do it. I from here in DC, from arriving in DC last year with my family, and establishing this, being here for only a couple months now, 4 months, working with Chase Bank, saying, look, why did you send back our funding for our organization? And they didn't want to. They told Ron Johnson, our CEO, and they told us on the phone, we are not going to fund you. When you have other when we run into roadblocks and we reaching out to here in DC to the mayor, no response. To senators, no response. I wrote a letter to the United Nations. I'm still waiting to see if they're going to respond. See, so again, you have to want. That's the solution. That's the solution.
You have to want it worse than you have to want it more than you want to stay in office in your job. That's what you got to want it more than. And your job, yep. If your job is like these jobs today, those highfalutin high jobs, they don't want to talk about racism. Are you kidding me?
No.
They might offend somebody who's giving them a paycheck, who's giving them a bonus.
As Debbie said, the illness in the back of their mind, the illness, again, as Rob Sterling said, you gotta look in the mirror. The illness in the back of their mind from all, as Debbie and y'all said, all the way from human civilization, creation. You mean to tell me, this disease is not going to go away? When people say it's a choice, it's literally a choice.
Now I'm going to tell you that there's hope. I'm going to tell you there's hope. Okay. It used to be that it's legal to smoke in everywhere. Now we can't do that. Here's another one. It used to be legal to walk around without a mask on. And now everybody wears a mask. If we can get people to do these things, what we have to do, what has happened is the laws have changed and it is illegal to do these certain things. Why can't we make it illegal to not be compassionate to people, to not treat people with respect? Why can't we make that illegal?
Haven't you heard that is a hate crimes? It's illegal.
I was getting ready to say it's already illegal.
But it's illegal. But does it matter?
It still happens. Right. So
we've got to tighten the belt then. We've got to make it more specific.
So again, what I guess what Debbie is saying is which is true. There has to be a significant. I mean, imagine if there was a law in place that if you shoot a black person, if a police officer shoot a black person or an Asian person or a Native American, you would be subject to criminal punishment from day one. Imagine that. Like in the military, the minute we do something out of character, we get an Article 15 and it comes down swift.
Why? Yes.
Imagine that.
Okay. Well, because
how are we going to get that out there?
Well,
who are we going to go to? Who's going to hear us?
The very people that's making the decisions are the very ones that's telling them to shoot you.
Exactly. You're absolutely right.
And they made some changes with the new body cameras, the video cameras that the officers have to wear. They didn't have that before. So now we could see a lot more, like they're planting drugs, they're doing, hateful
If they
things.
turn them on. If they turn them on.
And if they don't, they trouble.
it's got to be illegal for them to not have them on. You know, we've
It
got
should
to,
be,
Right
but
there.
there's
That's
always
where you
excuse.
start. That's where you start, Debbie. You start with the legality of them mandating that they keep those on.
right.
But again, it goes for all of us. And one of the things, that's why in our 3 goals or what on our website, we say you got to identify. First of all, the first thing we say, you identify the racism everywhere, or the sexism, whatever the discrimination is, you identify it. You do not back down. I remember last year there was a kid, a black kid at the mall here in Arundel Mills. It was one person, one white gentleman in GameStop, and this young kid is standing outside. And I confronted him. I said, "So, where's all this for COVID?" Okay, one guy in the store, and this, how long? And I stood there. I said, he's been waiting there for about 10, 15 minutes. Well, I said, so that's the first thing. You got to identify it. The second thing is, as Crystal said, and Stephanie and other people, you got to train. You got to say, look, here is the training. Here's how we can help you. And the third thing is, as Debbie said, you give back. That's our third thing. We give back. If whatever we get, we give a portion back if you want to change your perspective. Because again, the de-evolution, and I know I'm going to wrap it up now, but de-evolution is a bad thing. It's a serious thing. It's just like my grandmother had dementia. You know, it's like humanity is going to go into such a negative role if we don't control this one thing. And that's why I played that movie earlier. Is because Rob Sterling, as a genius that I'll play in the future interview. I think it was Walter Cronkite had an interview with him.
Mm-hmm.
It was phenomenal what Rod Sterling was saying. I mean, he was talking about Hollywood. I mean, it was mind blowing. But that's why he specifically did that movie, that show, and that's why he ended it the way he did.
Right.
That you don't need to go in a Twilight Zone to solve it. You just need to go in the mirror and look.
That's it. You're right.
And it's scary. It's very scary that we are leaving this planet and we're taking the same thing with us.
That's it.
And so in 100 years, or 90 years, my son may be watching a black person being shot on Mars. So thank you, panel. I appreciate it. It was a great.
I think Angie had something she wanted to say. She didn't get to.
Hi, Angie.
Did you?
Oh, I already said it. My camera
Oh,
was
okay.
just off. I was talking about the improvement, that's coming slowly but surely. Things are being brought out into the light more, but it took a long time for that.
It does. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
Can I read one thing, Starfury,
Sure.
before we get off? It says, getting rid of laws based on racism and designed to uphold unequal outcomes is necessary for ending systemic racism. Many people believe that society can stop racism by teaching love and acceptance. But the reality is that even if everyone stopped being racist overnight, the system would still produce outcomes that disproportionately impact certain races. That's right. And that's because the systems were designed with that specific intent, even if they didn't explicitly mention race.
That's right.
And that's why we have to change the mindset.
Okay, even if we do want to allocate or blame everything on mental illness, whatever we do, it still doesn't stop us from holding people accountable for continuing on this vicious cycle.
No,
we still need to have.
They're still guilty.
They're still guilty.
No,
right.
That's the point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a reason, not an excuse.
No, it is. Yeah.
So thank you. I appreciate your spending this hour and a half. It was very enlightening. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I really hope that we had a discussion about this and really homing it in. And normally we talk about all the, the nuances of the topic, but in essence, we know the solution. We know the solution. It's just identifying, as Debbie said, the symptoms and the causes to get to make the solution make sense. And that is changing ourselves and helping to change others. So have a great rest of your week. And as always, I say, you are the answer to ending racism forever.
Yes, for sure. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Nice to
Bye.
meet everybody and chat with you.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.